All right. So this document, the goal is I update this document every week for the next 100 years.
Okay, sure.
If we do that, we will be successful. At what
Um,
level? Who
question.
knows? Yeah.
Uh, are you going to update this or am I going to update that one?
So this one I will update.
Okay, sure.
So, and what this is every week, it's 22 pages, and it is an update on my strategy based on the last week and the next 100 years. Like,
Oh,
what's changed in the past? Now we have to change everything in the future if we want to, right?
oh,
So, and then it goes over the business model in a image, which is essentially a virtual Justin, which me and you run. It is the blog. It is all our social channels. It is all of that.
oh,
So me and you are production for the entire asset of America's Holding Company. And then anyone who subscribes, they're subscribing to what we create together. So everything we're doing is already production. So as people get involved, we're not adding more work. That's the
oh,
goal. Does that make sense?
yes.
Perfect. All right. So that is our business model. And then everything is built on week to week. How are
Okay.
we? And I see myself as real Justin driver. So I walk around in the real world and I sell people. And then I see you as virtual Justin driver. And
Okay.
the goal is to get to where we're working together on a regular basis. And you're like, let's say we get leads in for service experts, you're getting them on our calendar, you're setting up our follow ups, you're working with me to take care of these companies to
Okay.
bring in more revenue so that we can go out and prospect more, market more, bring in more revenue. And that's how we're going to cycle it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. And so every week, and this is something, honestly, we should start doing on a weekly basis is connecting maybe each weekend and just going over this and saying, hey, this is what's coming up. This is what we need to be ready for and all of that stuff, right?
Okay.
So this week, just so you know, I've got a conversation later today with a cleaning company here locally, and I'm hoping they may be our production partner. Because what I would like to do is get where it's not me creating all the content. We get someone who's cleaning houses in out working with us to do like ASMR videos. Have you seen those videos where it's just like random stuff? So the goal is to get other people creating content like we're doing to drive their life. And then hopefully they'll sign up for what we're doing and tell other people, hey, I'm a part of this.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that affiliate marketing side of it. Okay. So this is this week's schedule. Um, this week is going to be very calm. We're really just getting ready for next week for when we really start figuring out how do we move all this stuff. The next is a social media activity report, and this is just from Metricool. It's a screenshot I took. eventually these metrics will get better.
Okay, sure.
What I keep telling myself. All right, so we got that, and then we go into monthly recurring revenue and active subscribers. And so right now, as an organization, we make $300 a month, and that is based off 6 people subscribing. And
Okay.
again, the goal is to increase the speed at which we report on some numbers and decrease the time we produce on those numbers.
Okay.
And everything we're trying to do plays with the concept of time. How do I slow it down or elongate it based on what we're trying to accomplish? All right, so active subscribers, and then we give just more financial metrics. And this is one area, Rosie, you have a huge net. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming you have people you know, businesses, friends, everything like that over in the Philippines. My goal is we become a connection point between the US and the Philippines. And I'm spreading the message here. Eventually, we'll get to the point where I'm sending enough revenue that you can start hiring more people to help us
Okay.
who also get to prioritize living their life. Because my goal in all of this is it doesn't matter how fast we get there. What matters is that you and I and everyone who works with enjoys the ride, takes care of their family. Like we're empowered to live a life we want to live while we work. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you just be thinking, hey, I know someone who could do this better. If we need to pay more, if like I'm open to it. We'll figure all of it, okay? And the way I would like to look at it is this relationship is what ties us together. You manage it on the Philippine side, I'll manage it on the US side, and we just
Sure.
all right. So next, this is the revenue is broken down into 5 people paying $27 a month, 1 person paying $150 a month. This is our profit and loss. So this is the revenue coming in and leaving the organization. And then the next, so there's, are you familiar with the concept of a labor union?
No.
Okay, so in the US, we have things called labor union, which is all of the employees of large organizations get together and say, hey, instead of negotiating one-on-one, we're going to negotiate as a whole.
Oh, okay, got it.
Right? And so my goal with this is to create similar to a labor union. It's just a group of people who negotiate as a whole. The difference is we're not tied to any one company. We're not trying to negotiate with any one company. It's just open to anyone who wants to be involved.
Okay.
So the product updates, this is how individuals get involved. They get an access card. They'll get an annual Christmas ornament. And what I tell people, I don't believe any company can tell you the most important thing that happened this year. I believe that is in the heart of the beholder. It is in the heart of the person who lived the time. And so that's why it's a picture frame is, hey, we're going to give you the tool to hold the memory, but you have to come up with the memory. And then owner's manual, which is like a instructional manual workbook that goes over everything involved, bylaws, all the contracts, all of that. They get a Made in America flag, a US flag, and then a silver coin that is collectible. And the idea here is they can sell it for the silver, they could sell it as a collectible, or they could sell it as a share of the company, depending on what they want to do. And then the last thing, the reason someone would want to become a subscriber and work with us. And again, I'm going over all this because I need you to learn it so you can regurgitate it on my behalf, right? So the reason someone would want to be subscribed long term is, I call it the future of society investment opportunity. Every time someone makes the $27 a month payment, it extends the future of society investment opportunity for another 30 days. If any of these things happen, if someone gets married, if they have a baby, if they adopt a baby, if they go through a divorce, unexpected medical events, college graduation, high school graduation, you lose a child, join the military, or become a US citizen, all of these events drive value for our group. And so we want to celebrate those events with our group members that are going through them. And the goal is, if they need cash, we're selling them extremely discounted ownership in the company that they could turn around and sell to someone else to create an infusion of cash. Or they have ownership in this asset. If they don't need cash today, they hold on to their ownership and they can sell it in the future. And the goal is to collect as much time as we can into this one asset. And when people, they can sign up for 1 month and quit, like there's no restrictions. If they want money back, I've got a 60-day money back guarantee. Like,
Okay.
at the end of the day, this is your choice to be involved if you would like to be involved. I hope you do, but it's your choice, right? And that's the message we want to send to everyone is, hey, we're just building a team over here, and this is how the team works.
Okay.
So that's on the individual side. Then we're going to transition to the company side. The company side is, I call it the National Tax Strategy Education Program. So the National Tax Strategy Education Program is when I go over this information with someone. Like, as I'm trying to explain what it is we're doing, that makes a video part of the National Tax Strategy Education Program. So I could be wearing my glasses, I could be on someone else's podcast and trying to talk through the idea. That's what would turn it from a journal entry into part of the National Tax Strategy Education Program. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. And so that's the goal. My goal for the next 100 years is to update this once a week, do a daily journal, and explain this once a week to someone as a piece of the National Tax Strategy Education Program. and then we share that. And I believe if we do this long enough and invite people to join our team, we will be successful and people will see how this works,
Yeah.
right? So companies subscribe to the National Tax Strategy Education Program. So when they do, they get a couple things. One is I run the Prospecting Done For You podcast, right?
Yeah.
They've got ownership in that. I've created a community on X for America's Holding Company, and that is where we're going to vote about what's going on in the company. That community is where we're going to manage this whole asset as a group. So they get access to that community for them and all of their employees.
Okay.
And then depending on, so there's 5 different levels of the program. Depending on the level they subscribe at, determines how much ownership all of their employees get out of the system based on the number of years they've worked with our system. So here is $150 per month. Every W-2 employee will get 10 Class B shares as a sign-on bonus and 2 shares per year multiplied by the number of years they've been a part of the team. And so the goal is here, you can see at a level 1 company, after 10 years, they're up to 120 shares of ownership of the company versus a level 5 company. The cost is $2,000 a month, but the sign-on bonus is 80 shares per employee and 18 shares per year, which means at the end of 10 years, you've got 1,070 shares. So just by which organization you decide to work with determines how much ownership out of the system you get. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. And just so you know, I see you as an employee on my team, which means you get ownership just like I do for my subscriptions and everything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is where we're at there. Then when it comes to control of the asset, so I am the chairman of the board.
Okay.
I am in ultimate control. It's designed to have 8 board of directors members, and these are 8 different people who are telling me I'm going too fast and to slow
Okay.
down and live in the present. So far, it's my parents and my wife. So, and that is how it's designed. Is Class A. This is where ultimately there's 1 chairman of the board and 8 board of director members. They will share ownership of the Class A shares. So there's 9 people in charge of the company and then ownership. And we want it to be easy to make adjustments and changes, because that's the problem, I think, with big organizations is they grow so massive that you can't change anything. And so the goal here is we're growing a massive pile of cash. We're reevaluating how we distribute that cash. But the purpose is just to have a pile of cash. Like that is the sole purpose of this asset. And so we want to make it simple. We want to make it easy to understand. And that's why I've spent 2 years working more on what do I want to produce rather than how do I sell it? Because the most important question is what does production look like when you're selling to 1 million people or 2 million people, not how do I sell it, I think. So that's how this is all split up. So the Class B ownership, you can only get Class B ownership by being a part of the National Tax Strategy Education Program or a subscriber. That's the only way. You can only get shares from America's holding company, and they can only be sold back to America's holding company. And then the goal with the Class C shares is to go public on a stock market so people can trade the ownership of their asset on a regular basis. So think of that like Apple or Google or any of those other big publicly traded companies. We want this to be publicly traded. So that's the goal there. Currently in our bank account, we have $192. Woo, go team. We've got, hey, the last few people who have come on have all been investing in your future welcome contracts, which puts this price of the asset at $1 per share. So right now, there's 7,600 shares outstanding. In the bank account, there's 197. I can buy 100 shares at $1.50 per share.
For a while, excuse me, I'll just wait. I just look at my daughter. Thank
Good, good.
Okay, Justin, I'm back.
Excellent. Hope she's all right.
I just turned off my camera. She's here with me.
Oh, no, you're perfect. All right. So there is, because the goal is to create liquidity for the people who support us, which means they can come and say, hey, I need money. Let me sell these shares to you to get money, right?
Oh.
So right now, there's 100 Class C shares of liquidity at $1.50 per share. And then 150 shares at $1 per share. So if someone has money or has shares that they would like to exchange for money, there is money to do that at this point today, is what I'm trying to show there.
Okay.
And then these are to sell Class C shares, all people do is they say, hey, Justin, I have X shares. I would like to sell to X person, or I would like to sell back to America's holding company. And then we work out the details of what that looks like. And it's just a one-time, hey, this is the swap, money changed hands, share ownerships changed hands, we're good to go.
Okay.
On the flip side, the Class B shares, so these you can only sell back to America's holding company, but you can sell them back over time to create cash flow for yourself. So let's say the current Class C share price is $25. If you had 100 shares, you could cash them out at $2,500 cash. So you get the money, you give up the shares, and everything's good. Or you could say, you know, I want to finance these over the next 3 years. And for doing that, you get 125% of today's share price. So instead of selling it for $25 per share, it's like $32 per share, something like that. But you get paid out once a month for 36 months.
Okay.
And
Oh.
so the
$86.
however much you end up selling per share is what you get paid out monthly.
Oh, okay.
So here, this is the same 100 shares. That doesn't change. All that changes is how long do you let America's Holding Company hold the money before you get it. So if someone says, hey, I'm going to sell my 100 shares back to you, but I'm going to do it over 20 years, they get 300%. So instead of $2,500 cash, they would get $7,500 cash. But it comes monthly. So they're only getting $31 a month over the next 20 years. So that's how we're playing with this concept of time and owner financing back to the asset.
Okay.
I know that is a big concept in and of itself. What thoughts, questions do you have?
This is for class. Is this for class C? For class B, which one are we allowed to sell to American Holding? Is it the class B or class C?
So class B can only be sold to America's Holding Company.
Okay.
Class C, anyone can buy.
Okay, got it.
Great question. All right, then the next page is just a welcome to any new subscribers. Anybody who says, hey, yeah, I want to be a part of it. After that, this page is a special thank you to all our sponsors. Ideally, this just becomes a huge collage of logos.
Okay.
And we're just always adding logos, and it's like, it's never all gonna fit if it works out the way I want it to. But you know.
Okay.
So we do a special thank you, and then we go to, and so this is every week, what is the big objective I'm trying to figure out right now? And so right now, my big objective is finding a production partner who sees what we're trying to do and is willing to come in and help us run with it, help us make this a reality. So that's the team needs right now. And then the last page is just a thank you. And
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. So if I go to Twitter and then down to communities and America's Holding Company, you'll see this is what, so each week I go through, I update all the screenshots, I update all that information. And then I download this as JPEGs.
Okay.
And then I create a post in the America's Holding Company community. This is where we're going to manage everything and do voting and all that fun stuff, right?
Okay.
So in this community, you'll see I posted it, and then here is the screenshots, and I talk about each thing, and the goal is to update everybody on our team about the strategy moving forward as we move forward.
Okay. So we are going to use the X instead of Facebook groups. Or are we going to handle also Facebook groups if we have?
Yeah, because everything I'm doing is more centered around free speech and the freedom to share. And I believe Elon Musk has put his money where his mouth is around how he feels about free speech, and I'm going to support him for that.
Okay, sure.
That's why I look at everything I do as X first, and then we distribute it to all the other social platforms to try and get people back to X to join our community and be a part of what.
Okay.
And again, we're trying to build a system for the next 100 years. It's going to be slow. It's not going to work. And none of it matters. Like at the end of the day, what really matters is that you are living a fulfilling life with your family and that I'm living a fulfilling life with my family.
Yeah.
Everything else will take care of itself because that's how life works. I believe.
Okay. Yeah. For the journal entry, are we going to post it to X and TikTok only, or are we going to add Facebook, Instagram?
Great question. For now, we're going to keep it how we've been doing until I get onboarded with service experts, figure
Okay.
out what they're comfortable with, what I'm allowed to do, what I'm not allowed to do, and then we'll start bringing in more of the channels.
Okay, sure.
So, all right, this has been great. Thank you. So we went through all of the weekly update. Now what I want to do is if we go to our blog, so I think there are going to be 3 main types of videos we do. This is my thought. There are going to be journal entries, which I consider a journal entry as any video that I do, where it's first person from Justin, what's going on. I've decided I want to do POV entries where I give my glasses to someone else and they create whatever they want. And then we share it like we did with John and bowling, right? So we'll have POVs, we'll have journal entries, and then we'll have,
my name is Justin.
So we'll have the Prospecting Done For You podcast. And to
Okay.
me, the podcast is when I'm talking business with someone else about their business.
Okay, got it.
And then the National Tax Strategy Education Program. This is when, so I recorded this conversation. We could turn this into one of those videos if you're comfortable.
Oh, sure.
So let's do that. We'll
Oh no.
this as a tax strategy education as well.
Okay, sure.
And then what we do is, hey, once you upload it, so like this video, let's upload it as just the National Tax Strategy Education Program. And then tomorrow I've got an interview that will be a prospecting done for you and National Tax Strategy Education Program. I think,
Okay, sure.
but I'll let you know after the meetings.
Okay, sure.
And then the goal is we're just going to be updating and changing these videos out and everything as we go, all to drive SEO as wide as we can to get people back to the blog.
Okay, sure.
And at the end of the day, the blog is just the documentation of my life. And that's how it's supposed to be set up. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I have for today, if you go to the restream or today/tomorrow, again, do it on your time, not my time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So turn this into a National Tax Strategy Education Program post. And so let's upload it. Essentially, let's run it just like a prospecting done for you podcast.
Okay,
So
okay.
same production style, everything like that. Goes to the same channels and stuff like that. We just also call it part of the National Tax Strategy Education Program. So we got that. And then eventually, so I'm not sure on the CRM stuff and everything, how we're going to use that. Eventually, I want to get to where, again, we'll find out more after I start.
Okay, sure.
Because right now I'm I'm always making this, but yeah, let's not even worry about the CRM right now. I'll manage that for the time being.
Okay.
What questions do you have based off everything we've talked through and worked through today?
For the cover photo of the national tax strategy, it would be the same for the prospecting done for you podcast, or I'll just create a new cover photo for that.
Let's just do the prospecting done for you one for now. And just
Okay, sure.
and add something that says National Tax Strategy Education Program somewhere.
Okay,
And we'll figure it out from there.
sure. I'll just make a draft tonight, then I'll just send it back to you before I upload.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's we'll get
And
better at
also, yeah, if you can share me the presentation that you have shown me earlier on Canva. I think it's not on my Canva as well.
Alright, so it should be. It should be called, it looks like you should have it, AHCI Weekly Update.
I'll double check. It's not yet here. Can you share me the link? I'll just click it here in the chat.
Try it now. It says that it should be available. Here, I'll send it. And then the goal is to get people into conversations about it. So as we get going, ideally you'll be engaging with other people on my behalf
Okay.
and start, if they ask questions, answer them as you can. If you get stuck, you come out to me and say, hey, Justin, XYZ asked this. And so my goal is, while I'm working in the real world, you can work as Justin in the virtual world.
Okay,
And
sure.
now we're leveraging my time in the real world and online, even though I'm not the one texting and doing it.
Oh, sure. It's fine. I think it will be better also if we can create a script or guidelines for that, for the messages. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and anything you need to be successful, Rosie, just let me know.
Yeah.
I'm here. Hey, my success depends on your success. Your success depends on my success, right?
Thanks, Justin.
All right. Well, I will let you go. Hey, if you need anything or anything else like that, reach out.
Okay. Have you uploaded the journal entry today or not yet?
I haven't yet. I've got it right
Okay,
here,
sure.
right
I'll
after.
just wait for it. Okay.
And I'll do
Thanks,
this with
Justin. Okay.
Hey, bye.
Thanks, Justin. Bye.